Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Real Fellas Talk Sports. My name is Larry Aples, and I'm here with two of my longtime friends and sports enthusiasts. First is Go Earl. How you doing, Earl?
I'm doing great, Larry. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too. As well as Chuck Snowden, neighborhood and high school friend. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey, Larry, I'm doing great. Doesn't Earl look very professor-like today? Earl, you look good over there, my friend.
Almost like he's got a doctorate or something. Like maybe he's a sports doctor.
Maybe he's a sports doctor. That's a good point. That's a PhD in that thing. Good point, Larry. Very good point.
And very observant on your part, Chuck. You know, that's like Anthony stuff. You can't just stuff past us, man.
Right.
Okay, guys, we have a few things to go through, and we're going to start with the NBA playoffs. I'm sure everybody's excited about what's been going on, and we're going to start with the Dallas Golden State game. Earl, what do you think was the key to the Dallas's victory yesterday?
I think the NBA just wants to collect that extra advertising money. You know that series is over. Does anybody have a fork? Does anybody have a fork because Dallas is done? I just want to stick a fork into it right quick.
You don't think
I thought that they. It's just exactly what I said. I know it sounds absurd, but that's exactly what I think.
So you're saying it wasn't the players that won that game? It was the NBA, like the mystical powers of the referees?
Just like you said 10 minutes ago, if Golden State had left their bench in, they would have won. Wait, they were down by 29. I fell asleep. I woke up. I seen he down by 10 late in the game. I'm like, what is going on?
Got to 8.
NBA took care of that game. We need that income. Mark said we need that money. Even though I'm a billionaire, we need that extra advertising money. Can we extend this series to 5 games? And the NBA said, okay.
Charles, do you agree with Earl, or do you think Dallas has something to do with?
The playoffs have been like that all season. There's been these huge swings. I mean, this same Golden State team was down 55 points at one point to Memphis in one of those playoff games. Let me go back to a step. We go back to last Wednesday. I thought Dallas was going to win this series. I did. And I know they had lost 2 games in Golden State, but I thought they were going to come back to Dallas and win both of them. And they fell short on Friday. On Sunday night? Yeah, on Sunday night. They fell short. So I'm not surprised that they won. What I am surprised is that they lost on Sunday. And yeah, you're right. The mountain is going to be tough for them to get over, to win 4 straight. But we'll see.
What do you think they can do to get to win in the next game? Do you think it's possible they can win the next game?
I have an answer for that too.
Okay.
So here's the thing. One of the reasons I thought Dallas was going to win, or what I did not anticipate, was Mooney and Wiggins to play as well as they have been playing. I mean, up until last night, Looney and Wiggins have been great. They've been averaging about 32 points a game, the two of them in that game. And then Bullock and Finney-Smith just weren't knocking down shots in the first 3 previous games. But they hit shots yesterday along with Kleiber. So if they can hit those shots, if they fix their stroke, and Looney and Wiggins come back to earth, which they did yesterday, we'll see what happens.
Wiggins has done a good job defensively too. That's one thing that I remember last week we were talking about who was going to guard Doncic. I think you might even mention he was somebody else.
He's one of them too.
Yeah,
right, athletically,
he's done a good job.
And God knows he had that incredible dunk on Doncic earlier. I think that was this past weekend.
Monday.
Which was a poster situation. So so we'll see if Wiggins and Looney don't play as well, and then Bullock and Finney-Smith hit their shots. And then if they win that game, we come back to Dallas. It's 3-2. Things start to tighten a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
One game at a time, brother.
I know, exactly.
Earl, is there anything that Dallas can do with respect, without using the referees? Is there anything Dallas can do to get another win in this series?
No.
No. Okay.
So they haven't. Golden State hasn't been to the playoffs the last 2 years. They discussed it. They said we owe it to our fans to just end it in Golden State. You know, they just built a new arena a couple of years ago. We owe it to our fans. Let's just wrap it up here. Then we go to the strip club after the we go to the final. It's nothing that Alice can do.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Who's been the most impactful player in the series? Earl.
In this series, I shouldn't have to be stuttering or stumbling. I would have to say Luka.
Luka. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, is anybody even close?
Well, I thought maybe since Golden State's up 3 games.
I am a Golden State fan. Golden State is up. But the reason why they're up is because they're a better team. They've been winning as a team, not one individual player.
Okay. What do you think, Chuck? Who's the most impactful?
Well, I think it is Luka. But before I answer that even further, let me get back to something Earl said. Earl, are you I mean, you're meaning Golden State. You have them favored to win this series, but you're not a Golden State fan, are you? Or are you?
Yeah, I like Golden State. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think Luka has been the most dominant player in this thing, and Luka. But they take more than Luka. In fact, I saw some stat that said when he has 40 points, they're 2-6 or 2-4. So those other guys have to participate. But Luka is a standard. He's going to get his. I guess he was 1 rebound short or 1 assist short last night from a triple-double.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens in Golden State.
Well, let me add, Chuck, that I've been a Laker fan all my life. Larry and Kevin can tell you that.
And me too. I know that.
I was a Laker fan until LeBron and Clutch Sports took over the general managership of the Lakers, and then I left them alone because they just screwed things up.
Was that before or after the bubble? Because they won the championship in the bubble. That was 2 years ago.
Before the bubble. I don't care whether they won that fake asterisk championship or not. LeBron and them have messed up another franchise. That's all. Yeah.
So let me move on to the next question. Who's the non-superstar or X factor? Who's been the biggest X factor? Earl, and on both teams, who's really played that's not a superstar but has really showed up in these games?
Let me think about that. I'd say for what's the boy that made the All-Star team?
Wiggins.
Yeah, him for Golden State, and for Dallas, I would say that Vinny Smith boy. Man, the man named Vinny Smith, or whatever. I don't even know his name.
Yeah, Vinny Smith.
Such a nobody, but he been hitting them threes. So him. Yeah.
Chuck, who do you think?
I think that I touched on it earlier. Looney, the center for Golden State, he's really played well until the other night. He didn't do that much the other night, but statistically, he has really played well for Golden State, and he's one of those guys on that team we don't hear that much about, but he's played well. And then on the Dallas side, I mean, I still give Brunson. I don't know that Brunson is a household name, but he has shown me through these playoffs that he's pretty good and he's pretty steady. So I would still say it's Brunson and Looney.
Yeah, I think both of you got good people. Brunson really, man, every game I have to give it to him too.
I do too.
He just takes people one-on-one. He doesn't care, who he's playing.
He shot a nice jumper, and Draymond had him guarded really well, and he kind of faded back, shot that left-hand jumper over him, and knocked that thing down.
He was toying with Draymond. He was toying with Draymond.
He was. And then he bullies the little guys. Like, he takes those guys inside, and he bullies those guys inside. I like him.
Yeah, I think he's played pretty well.
Right.
Very steady, very consistent.
Right.
That's the thing with him. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Miami or Boston. So let me go back to this last question. Who do you guys have winning this series? The first series, Dallas and Golden State. Earl, I think you already said Golden State.
Yeah.
How many games?
Oh, it's over 5.
Okay. Okay.
You didn't ask me when it was over. You asked me how many games. 5.
Same question. Chuck.
Well, look, I predicted Dallas was going to win this series, and I'm going to stay with it. I can't bail now.
It's 3-1, Chuck.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm not going to bail on them. And Larry, before you switch to go to the Miami Boston series,
Sure.
I want to say one other thing. I was super impressed, and people can, our listeners, our viewers can go out and Google this. But I thought Steve Kerr had a speech prior to the game yesterday as he was addressing the horrible shooting that was in Texas. And it was great. He hit all of the points. He was passionate. And I think everybody should go see that. I really do. I was impressed. I'm not a Golden State fan, but I was impressed with Steve Kerr yesterday.
Are you a sports fan?
Big time.
Well, why are we talking about what you just finished talking
Because
about?
sometimes they intersect, Earl. Sometimes they intersect, and yesterday was one of those times.
And it was a very powerful statement, and I love when people use their platforms to
I do too. For good. For good.
Yeah. He called out Mitch McConnell too. And the 50 Republican senators
who are sitting on a bill, right?
Yeah. But before we lose Earl, we're going to pivot back.
I'm not going nowhere. I respect you guys.
Well, I was going to mention that during the closing remarks, but I'm glad Chuck brought it up.
Okay.
I was going to ask if you guys saw it during the closing remarks. Okay. Boston and Miami. Earl, who's going to win this series?
Boston.
Boston.
I want Miami to win, but Boston just has a lot. They just Boston.
Why do you think they're going to win?
I think they play better defense than Miami. I mean, let's. The other night when I said take Miami to take the over and under. How in the hell am I supposed to know that they only going to start 5 and score 18 points?
Total.
I'm a sports doctor, but I'm not the Wizard of Oz. Ain't no way nobody can predict that, man. Those guys play some serious defense. And Miami has too many injuries. And for some reason, Miami's ownership don't want to give up the money to get the FBI or CIA to go find Bam Adebayo. He just disappeared again. One game right after he had they found him, he disappeared again. Nobody knows where he is. So I'm going with Boston.
You think he's on the milk carton, huh?
I think some people are going to run around and ask for my medical license because I used to think that Bam Adebayo was good. I thought he was good. I thought he was a major force. He's nothing. I was completely wrong. He's horrible.
You don't think he's played well on the defensive end?
No.
Oh, okay.
Who has he been checking?
They don't go to the hole when he's there. They'll shoot jump shots on him. When he's back there, they don't go to the hole that much. I mean, he's a presence back there.
I was completely wrong with Bam Adebayo. He is not a force. Did he just sign a contract? Because if he signed an extension, he's stealing. He need to go to jail. He's horrible. You can't have no bad series in the playoffs if you thorough. If you shaky, you ain't thorough. Come on. I mean, everybody can have a bad game. Everybody has a bad night. This guy completely disappeared from the game.
Yeah, I thought he's played decently on defense and rebounding. Offensively, yeah, he hasn't even been shooting the ball except for one game. It seemed like they made a concerted effort to give it to him previous game, but he hasn't looked at the basket enough. Chuck, who do you like in this series?
Hey, Earl, our distinguished colleague, Mr. Larry Abels, he's such a nice guy. He just won't say anything bad about someone, will he? Well, because I absolutely agree with you, Earl. Bam, he played great that game in Boston, game 3, the first game in Boston. and he had 31 points. And we said the return of Bam, he looked wonderful. And he was aggressive offensively. He got the ball, went right to the cup. He was making that little jump hook. He looked awesome. And then he reverted back to the old Bam in the other game, in game 4. And maybe it has something to do with Williams being back with Horford, because they kind of got a two-headed monster, can kind of watch him. And maybe Williams' height gives Bam problems. But I don't even see Bam looking at the basket. He catches the ball, they do that triple handoff thing, and he hands it off. He doesn't even look at the basket.
Well, Chuck, that's what I said too. I said he doesn't look at it. Defensively, I think he's okay. And I think he rebounds okay. But they made a concerted effort to give him the ball early in the previous game.
Right.
And he took a lot of shots. He didn't look for the basket at all.
But
they
why?
needed him to.
Why?
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with Earl. If Butler's hurt, Hero's hurt, why?
They needed him to. That's what I said. They needed him to do it.
Why weren't they feeding him and asking him to replicate what he had done the first night? To me, it's a mystery. I got to tell you,
it's not a mystery. And I know David, if he happens to be watching, he's shaking in his boots. I suggest that someone check Bam's financial record. That's what I suggest. That's what I suggest.
Bam made the All-Star team 2 years ago. Bam was really a big-time player. He led Miami to. He led Miami to that game against that series against the. He won. They won the East. Miami won the. And
I don't know what's the word.
Okay, against Philadelphia too. I just don't see him in this series. He's absent.
I don't know who had the worst fall. Who just game just disappeared immediately all of a sudden. Harden or Bam? This is horrible. Both of them are horrible. That's just the game just disappeared right in front of my face.
Chris Paul too, right?
That's a whole nother conversation. I think Earl touched on something else. He didn't do it in this show, but in previous shows, Tatum can do that sometimes too. Tatum can disappear on us in a game, but he always responds, doesn't he? Which makes me wonder, why does he disappear? I don't get it.
I think the difference with Tatum is people guard him, and sometimes they make his life miserable. But it's not for lack of trying. What we're seeing with Bam, he's not even taking shots.
I know.
I mean, Tatum will be 3 for 14.
Right.
He's just
Tatum will be off tonight. Tatum will be off tonight.
It's almost like on and off, on and off, on and off. It's funny.
So I was going to ask you guys.
I don't know.
I was going to ask you guys whether Bam a superstar. So you answered that already.
I don't know whether he's a superstar or is he a good player that has superstar performances. It's two different things.
You're talking about
right
Bam.
now. I would say Tatum.
He's talking about but Larry was asking us about Bam, and you were responding to Tatum.
Bam.
Well, what I was going to say, I was going to ask you about Bam. I think you guys have already stated your position. And the other guy I was going to ask you about is Jaylen Brown.
He's not a superstar, but he's better than a whole lot of people think he is. And he's a rising superstar. That boy can play.
God, I don't feel him sometimes. I just don't feel him like other people do. He turns the ball over too much. His handle is not really as good as I would like. And, he's been around for a while. He's no longer like 22, 23 years. I don't know about Tatum.
Just like Tatum. They've been around about the same amount of time.
But isn't he older than Tatum, though?
No, he's not.
I don't think much if he is.
Is he? I'm not as sold on. I don't know about Earl, but I'm not as sold on Brown. But he is a good player. Like he's kind of like a Mitchell Wiggins is for Golden State. He's that third.
Who's Mitchell Wiggins? Who's Mitchell Wiggins?
Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins. I'm sorry. Andrew Wiggins. He's like the fourth. Like he's not really, to me, the second guy on a team, but he is the second guy on the Boston team.
Wait, hold on.
I'm talking about Brown.
Are you saying that Brown is not the second best player on that team?
No, I know he is, and I know that's how they treat him. I'm just not enamored with him as I am with.
Who is the idiot on our team or on TV who's saying you need to break up those two? Are you kidding me?
Earlier in the year,
a lot of people were saying that earlier this season.
They're out of their mind.
They don't say it no more, I don't think.
I never understand why anybody talks about breaking up teams unless they have somebody to replace them with.
Crazy.
So
you have to have two. You have to have two. The ones that have three are the ones that win.
And 4.
You can't get rid of him like that, man. Are you kidding me?
So for the record, he's 25 and Tatum is 24. So
okay, so he's a little older.
Yeah, right around the same
time. How
time.
about you, Larry? What do you think of him?
Oh, I don't think he's quite. I don't think he's there yet. Just like we talk about Jimmy Butler, who I think really is there. I think Jimmy Butler's better than him, and I'm not sure Jimmy Butler's not better than Tatum. Especially for what he does with his team. Earl's looking at me with a quizzical look, but I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure Tatum's better than him.
Tatum is a bad dude. He just disappoints
no.
inconsistency.
Well, we're going to get into this discussion later. I know, Larry, because I saw the agenda about the All-Pro team. But I think that Jimmy Butler, the playoff Jimmy Butler, is better than regular season Jimmy Butler. Even though Jimmy Butler in the regular season is good,
I think he's consistent.
But playoff, I think he's a little bit better in the playoffs.
Okay. So, but he's consistent during the regular season too. I mean,
he's had 3 40-point games in the playoffs. He didn't have any of those in the regular season.
To tell you the truth, when he left Philadelphia, they really fell down.
Well, did you hear his comments on the way out of that series when the series was over?
I thought it was kind of unfair toward
Tobias Harris.
Yeah, the guy he really had the conflict with was Simmons. And if you think about it, during the playoffs that year when they lost to Toronto, Butler had the ball down the stretch a lot because Simmons doesn't like to shoot free throws, and Butler was handling the point. Simmons didn't like that, and I really think that's why Butler was gone because Simmons wanted the ball.
Well, I think you're right, Larry. Earl, what we were saying about you, Larry, you're just a nice guy. They gave Tobias Harris, they gave him $35 million a year. He makes $35 million a year. And so Jimmy Butler felt like they chose him over Butler.
No, I know, but if you look at what happened there, Simmons was the one that wanted him gone because Simmons wanted to handle the point. I know they gave Butler the money. They ended up having money to spend, and they gave it. I mean, not Butler, but Harris the money. No argument that they should have given it to Butler, but Simmons wanted to handle the ball. And in the playoffs that year, they lost to Toronto. Butler was handling the ball. I mean, he was really down the street, just like he does now.
Right,
he was doing that. Simmons didn't like that. And then, ironically, when Doc came there, he ran everything through Embiid instead of Simmons. So Simmons, he needed to go anyway. No, I just thought it was sort of misguided anger at
Tobias Harris.
It just goes to show why I was laughing for 10 minutes when they said they hired Elton Brand to run that show. Philadelphia is a mess. You don't let Butler go. And I know hindsight is 20/20, but when they let him go back then, I said, y'all are tripping. The only person on your team is hard, but you're going to keep Shake Milton? Come on.
But did they let him? I thought Butler wanted out. That's not true.
He wanted to be paid.
Right.
But I really think Simmons was the key.
Interesting.
Check any of the Philly papers. It was like he's handling the ball too much. That's my job. I want to be the point guard. And the previous coach was like, you can't shoot foul shots down the end of the game. And I mean, they really got that lucky bounce that Kawhi shot. They would have beat them.
Right.
But I think they lost a lot when they let him go. No doubt about that.
Right.
Okay, moving on to what everybody's been waiting for. The NBA announced their 2021-22 NBA All-Star teams. And I provided you guys with a list, but I'll read it. First team, Antetokounmpo, Booker, Doncic, Jokic, and Tatum. Second team, Curry, DeRozan, Durant, Embiid, and Morant. Third team, LeBron James, Chris Paul, Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns, and Trae Young. Is there anyone on the first team that shouldn't be there, and who should take their place? Or is anyone who's not on the first team that should be there, and who needs to leave?
Embiid should be on the first team, and Booker should not be on the first team.
Okay.
Embiid was the runner-up MVP, right?
Yeah, I was wondering. It seems like they picked positions. I thought it was like positionless basketball, but it seemed like they picked, two forwards, a center, and a guard.
Oh, did they?
That's the way it kind of looks to me, even though all of them are like
Who's point guard?
I think Luka.
Luka.
That's the
Who's
position he
the point
plays.
guard?
Luka.
That's what he does for Dallas.
Luka Doncic.
He handles the ball for Dallas.
My real question is, who's the center? Is it Jokic or Antetokounmpo?
And by the way, Embiid, look, man, he shoots jumpers, he shoots threes. He can be a forward. He really he has forward-like skills. My only point is, I thought that was, and maybe I'm in the moment, meaning I saw Booker lay an egg, quite frankly, in that series against Dallas. And Embiid had been carrying that team all year. So I thought Embiid should be on that list.
When do they?
I know. I think they vote before the
playoffs. If it's a regular season thing, Chuck, what you said is blasphemous.
What I'm saying is that's maybe why I'm influenced by it. I'm not saying I'm influenced by my feelings because I've been watching the playoffs too, even though I know they voted prior to the playoffs. Probably.
But he also raises a good point. I think during the regular season, Embiid was playing better than he played in the playoffs, actually, because he got hurt later on. But he had a great season this year. And if they're talking about
until he got hurt, he was playing fine. Can't help if he got hurt.
And that was regular season when he was fine.
No, what I'm saying in the playoffs, he was killing people until he got hurt.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I would even go as far as, if I had a vote, I would even go as far as to say, I'm not too sure. Again, I might be clouded a little bit about the playoff, but I might even have put DeRozan in over Booker. Are we ready to make Booker a first-team All-NBA player already?
I'm ready to make the player or the best team that had the best record in it. Yeah, I'm ready to make him first team. Yes. He's the best player on the number one team, the team that had the best record in the league.
These are individual awards. These are individual awards. He flat out played well this year. I can't take anything.
Well, sure he did. Sure, all of them did, right? Embiid flat out played well, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the other
DeRozan flat out played well, right? Etc. I'm just saying.
Let's put it this way. I think he had a better season than Tatum did.
Of course he did.
Yeah,
Booker did?
Regular season, yeah.
Yeah. Embiid should be on a team. I can't figure out who we need to take off, but Embiid has to be on that team. Are you kidding me?
We got to take somebody off.
I think Larry wants to take Tatum off.
That's what I would take. And I mean,
that.
We splitting hairs here.
Right.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Not for the regular season performance. We're not. Embiid was killing people.
I'm talking about who I take off
to be removed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's gotta either be Booker or Tatum. It's gotta, because Joker's staying and Antetokounmpo's staying.
Right. Agreed. I don't disagree with that. And then we get to the second team, right?
Yeah.
So, look, man, I gotta say it because I just gotta say it, right? Earl got on me earlier when I made a posting on something he posted on his Facebook. But LeBron played more games than KD. And LeBron averaged 30 points and 9 rebounds and 8 assists. I thought he had a fabulous year in terms of him personally. Now, he was the only guy on the 3 teams that did not make the playoffs. Maybe that hurt him. But I thought he deserved to be on that second team, not on the third team.
So we're going to take Steph Curry off, DeRozan off, Durant, Embiid, or Morant.
I might take Ja off.
Okay.
Ja missed 25 games.
Yeah.
He missed 25 games. He's just a kid.
Well, that shouldn't be part of your analysis. Then.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm not going to, if they're even, I'm sure not going to give the kid the benefit of the doubt over the veteran who's been there year in and year out. He had a better year than he did the year before.
Well,
he was first team.
Let's not do age discrimination.
Well,
let's figure out a way to. That's how you should help people hire. Flip a coin. If you got to flip a coin, do that.
Right. Well, thanks for keeping. I'm glad because I don't want HR calling us later and asking me to come see them because I made that statement.
Well, normally age discrimination works the other way, so you'd probably be okay.
Right.
So, Earl, what did you think about the selections?
They're cool. I just was trying to figure out how to get Embiid on there, so I probably would take Tatum off. I kind of got crazy when I saw Chuck say Booker didn't belong on there. I usually don't respond to people too much in sports on Facebook, but when I saw that, I went crazy. I thought, what the heck was Charles talking about?
But now that you've had a chance to think about it, you understand why I put it in there, huh?
No. I
Well, you're trying to put it. You're trying. Oh, you would have taken Tatum. So again,
that's trying to put Embiid on.
Okay, which is what I was trying to do too.
Right, and
which means I had to take somebody off.
Right.
And so I chose to take Book.
You take Tatum. That's what you take.
So Boston had the best record in basketball from January 1st to the end of the year. And Tatum was the best player.
I did know that, but I'm not quite sure what that has to do with what we're talking about, but I did know that to answer your question.
Okay. Well, because earlier you said because he was the best player on the best record in the,
Well, but
who had the best record
the whole
year?
Is that
who had the best record the whole year?
The best record the whole year.
Phoenix.
Okay, so what are you again, Charles? What are you talking about?
I'm just suggesting that since January through May, Boston had the best record from January through May, not from October, because that was Phoenix, but from January through May, it was the Boston Celtics.
So let me tell you, I want to mention something.
And by the way, Book is at home watching us tonight, whereas Jalen is still playing.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything, Charles.
Well, it might have influenced me, even though it shouldn't. It might have influenced me.
So who knows what influenced you, Charles? Who knows what influences you?
I saw Booker had 20. That team had 27 points at the half in a game 7 at home. Really? And you're a superstar? Come on.
Anybody can have a bad game. Golden State was down by 55.
Well, that's why they don't go on my first team All NBA.
So last year, first team, 2 people that won first team that are not there. Steph Curry was first team, as was Kawhi Leonard. So I don't think he hasn't played this year.
Well, LeBron wasn't on first team last year?
No, he was second team.
Oh, he had a bunch of injuries last year too, didn't he?
He just wasn't.
You tell us. You're his stepdad. You tell us.
He's on a downward trend. Now he's on third team. He was on second team last year. Also a second team. Damian Lillard, my favorite player. He didn't play this year, Harley. Julius Randle.
He had that kind of year, though.
Last year.
He had that kind of year.
Last year.
And everybody I'm naming is not on any of the teams this year.
Exactly.
Third team with Jimmy Butler. I don't see why he's not on it. He's somebody I would have found a spot for somewhere. I'll take Trey Young off or something like that, or Siakam.
What did Butler average? When you stat men over there, what did he average? He didn't average that much during the regular season.
No, he doesn't. I think he averaged like 21, 22, something like that.
All-around game. He gets people involved. He defends, and if they need him to score, he scores.
He's a tough
so what's
guy.
wrong now? His knee hurt, right? His knee hurt. Is that wrong? We can't do nothing about it. If he's hurt, he's hurt. I can't dog him.
No, I think he tried to play the other night, and you could tell he wasn't his normal active self.
No. It's his numbers. Like Earl said earlier, the entire starting 5 collectively at 18 points.
And you know what? I think a big part of it, I think the fact that he's hurt, that's going to do him. If he can't play, that's going to do him.
I know.
Because
although he didn't play in the second half of the first game in Boston.
Yeah, they barely hung on.
Well, but they did. They won. Yeah. They didn't have them in the second half.
Yeah, you let them have like 5 more minutes in that game, they're in trouble.
I know.
Yeah.
Again, that's another one of those games with a big swing, right? They were up at one point. Miami was up 26, 27 points, and they had to hang on to win.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you some more people that Paul George, Bradley Beal.
Oh, please.
This is the third team. It was Butler, Paul George, Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving, and Rudy Gobert.
I heard an announcer speaking today. He talked about Kyrie got 1 vote for one of those 3 All-Star teams this year.
Yeah.
And the person who was talking about this said they should identify who that writer was.
Kick him off.
And he should never be allowed to vote again. Because I guess apparently Kyrie missed 29 games last year.
We know who that one person is. You know who it is.
No, I don't know who.
Oh, you don't know?
No, and he didn't say he knew the guy that was
Oh
talking
no,
about
it's
this.
out. It's out. The idiot that said that shit.
Who was it?
Well, I knew something was wrong with him when I heard he had broke up with his wife, Jalen Rose.
Who broke up with their wife?
Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose voted. He voted for Kyrie on one of those top 3 teams.
He came on national TV and said it. They've been clowning him all day.
Oh my goodness! Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
hey Larry, what team was KD on last year?
KD. I don't even see his name.
So
was
maybe
he hurt last year.
Was he hurt last year?
He didn't play last year.
He played. No, he had. Remember, he had that great playoff. Oh, that was after he came back from being hurt.
Must be. He's not on here.
Not even on the list. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess Julius Randle had his spot last year.
Well, I mean, look, we gave Charles Jackson. We had fun with that all year, right, Earl? Because the Knicks were winning, and Julius Randle was their best player, and he did have a good year. I knew they were going to be in trouble because he couldn't get any better. There's no way Julius Randle could have played better than he did last year, and he didn't.
I think he benefits from playing in New York. He played in Minnesota. He'd be like one of those guys we don't know. Well, I guess
Cat made one of the 3 teams.
He sure did.
And we know that other kid's going to make one of those teams soon too. The guard that plays for Minnesota.
Oh, Anthony.
Yeah, he's going to be on those teams soon.
Yeah,
he's legit.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I mean, again, I mean, we don't have to beat this up, but I really do want to understand from you guys, why are you enamored with Booker? Like, for example, Booker is not an unusually sized guy. He's a regular sized guard, and I mean, I don't think he's a great defender. He's not bad. He has a mid range. He doesn't shoot a ton of threes. What's so special about Booker that he has to be on the number?
I think he's a scorer. I think he goes after. I think Booker thinks he's the best player. What we're criticizing Bam about by being reticent to shoot, he ain't got that problem with Booker. I think you give him the ball and you won't have to beat him, because I think he thinks he's the best player on the court every time he plays, and he plays like that, and he shoots pretty well.
Chuck, I think, I could be wrong, and I probably am. I don't think that you dislike Booker's game. I just think you're picking on somebody because you wanted Dallas to beat Phoenix, and so he's on the team that beat Dallas. So you dogging him. That's how you are.
Well, Phoenix didn't beat Dallas. Phoenix didn't.
So he averaged 26.8 points a game this year.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a bad boy.
Right, he did beat Dallas. I'm tripping. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. It's okay.
That's not okay. I don't like to talk out the side of my neck. That ain't okay at all.
I don't think it was his fault that they lost, though.
Come on, Larry. Come on.
You think it was Booker's fault?
Yeah, he's the best player on their team.
Their point guard got neutralized.
Okay, if their point, so now he has to pick it up. He has to get going. He has to figure something else out.
He had one bad game. Shit. Come on. I have a bad series.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to pull those stats up. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stat man. Go ahead.
So he averaged 30 points. He averaged 30 points in that series? Or
Nobody said he averaged 30 points. Where'd you get that from?
Well, I'm just saying. If you're a great player in a series, you must have averaged 30. Because the great players in this series are averaging 30.
But the player.
Whoa, but wait. What? Come on, Charles. Come on. We're running out of time. Come on. If you don't average 30, that means you're not a great player. That's basically what you're saying.
That is basically what I'm saying. In a series like this, in a playoff series, when your one guy is hurt a little bit, Chris Paul was losing it, then the other guy has to score. Somebody got to score, don't they?
So if he don't average 30, he's not great. You're right, Charles.
If you're the star player.
Larry's too nice, and he should have said, let's move on, because you're talking a bunch of gibberish right now. You don't got to average 30 to be considered a great player in a playoff series. Stop being silly.
He probably was the one person that played well in that series, for some reason they fell out of favor with the center. I thought the center could play. Ayton was going to play well, but he didn't really assert himself like I thought he was going to do.
He didn't get a chance to play.
Well,
The so-called coach of the year got out coached and made some bad moves. Now he might have been a player. I don't want to say so-called, but the coach of the year made bad decisions, and he made bad decisions several.
He didn't make an adjustment. You're right, Earl. You're 100%
I'm still wondering what adjustments he could make. And a real bad decision he was targeting Luka in that one game, and they started doing it to Chris Paul, and they couldn't do anything about that.
Right.
They could not. I mean, Paul was he never got to his offense. That threw them off of whack.
Well, maybe they should have sat Paul down, Larry. I know that's hard to do because
no.
You know.
How are you going to shut down one of the top 5 greatest point guards ever? You can't do that, Charles.
Because he's 37 years old, and they were wearing him down.
Right.
That's when Finney and Bullock were pressing him in the backcourt. And then who's he going to guard?
Or have another guy bring the ball, or have Booker bring the ball up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't see the adjustments for the coach of the year.
I just didn't sit his ass down and bring Payne in the game.
That was an option. Even though Payne didn't really impress me that much this year.
So I heard a crazy rumor. Now, again, I mean, this is the trade rumor I heard. Let me tell you see what you guys think of this. Ayton to Milwaukee. Milwaukee would send Drew Holiday to Atlanta, and Atlanta would send Capella and Dre Hunter to Phoenix. So Capella and Dre Hunter to Phoenix, Ayton to Milwaukee, Drew Holiday to Atlanta in a 3-way deal. Now, I don't know why. I don't know if there's money involved. I don't know if they don't want to pay Ayton. I don't know.
Wait. Okay.
Who's Milwaukee getting?
Milwaukee is getting Ayton.
So let me ask you this, Charles. Why would you say that you don't know if they don't want to pay him or not?
When they didn't pay him.
When they didn't pay him.
I know. Because timing. They might not have wanted to pay him last year, but they would pay him this year. It just was a timing thing because they didn't have to pay him. And now he's a restricted.
When everybody in your class gets an extension, but you, there's going to be problems. He's better than everybody in his class. Everybody in his class got extensions, but him, he's gone. There's turmoil in that organization. That's all. And you talking about it's internal. That's your question. I've been playing it's internal. Come on, are you trying to win the series or what?
Man, that's all Monty said.
You play him and you play with him, win, and you do exactly what he said. You deal with it internally.
I'm looking at Booker's stats against Dallas. He scored 23, 30, 18, 35, 28, 19, and then 11 the last game.
Wow.
That's your superstar. That's your first team All-NBA.
Well, he got a couple of 30-point games and a couple.
Well, yeah, but he had an 11 and an 18 and a 19 or something. I mean, I'm not saying he isn't a good player. I'm not saying that. But those numbers you just read off to me.
Let me ask you this. I guess
those numbers are not bad. It's 20, average 20-some points. The last game was, I mean, that's the outlier, you know.
Well, he had 2 of them in the teens, and then he had the 11 game. That's 3 games under 20.
18 and 19.
Okay.
And he got a 30, you got a 30, 30, you got a 30 and 35. So his average is going to be in the 20s. The rest of the games in the 20s.
Larry, why are we going through this? Charles has already stated that if you don't average 30, you're not a great player. So why?
Okay.
He didn't average 30.
We have
not great.
We have beat this up. But Earl, would you suggest to me that a guy who scored 11, 18, 19, 35, and 30 should be on first team All-NBA? That kind of thing?
If his team had the best record, yes. If he was the best player on the team that had the best record, let me ask you this. Do you think nobody on that team should be on the first team?
Well, no, because I think Embiid should have been on it, and I think Book should have been on the second team. That's my thoughts. That's all I was saying. I'm trying to make room for Embiid. That's the problem. And I don't want to take Tatum off.
Yeah, Tatum has had a better. He's got 2 10-point games, one in the Buck series and one in this series. But he's got some 30s and he got a 46. He got a 46.
Right.
Got a 46 in one game.
Right.
But he got 2 10-point games, but I think he's superstar as well.
And not only that, Tatum is, he's long. Book is not. Can Book check a small forward and a power forward?
Yes, he's 6'6". Yes, he can.
Oh, is he 6'6"? Okay.
Yeah. I don't see him really being a liability, and I think he's got the heart. I mean, I think splitting hairs between him and Tatum, whichever one you want to take off.
Right. And that's why I said to you guys, I surrendered. Okay. I think we all agree that Embiid should be on there. And now we're just flipping a coin on Tatum versus.
There we go. See, that's a non-discriminatory way to resolve it, right?
There you go.
Let's move on to the PGA. Tiger Woods. I know you guys are Tiger Woods fans.
I am. I definitely am. Yeah.
Earl, your comments on his performance this weekend.
And
remember how my response to him y'all weren't calling me a nice guy last week when I, just called it as
crushing him. When you were crushing him.
You were absolutely correct, Larry. When you asked you, did he have a chance to win, and you said no, because he doesn't. He has physical problems. That's all. Until he's 100% healthy,
and he won't be.
I don't expect too much. I was wrong by thinking as long as he was on the court, he had a chance. I was wrong. It's the Tiger lover in me. I'm looking for another 4 because after I stick it in the series between Dallas and Golden State. I'm going to stick it in the Tiger.
What are your observations, Chuck?
I love Tiger. So I thought that I always think that when he sticks it in the dirt, he got a chance. And he just didn't have his game this past weekend. And I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know if it was his leg, his back. I don't know. I mean, he withdrew. So at least he played it out at the Masters, but he withdrew here. And he had a terrible Saturday. I think he shot a 79. I think it's the worst.
He has injuries, but I don't think that's why he withdrew. He's cried. He's like, I look like a piece of crap out here.
Right.
Get out of here.
But he wasn't the only one. That course was hard. You saw what happened on Sunday. The 4 leaders.
He's the only one. He's the one we're talking about.
Right.
We talking about nobody.
He had one stretch where I think he had 3 bogeys in a row. And one was a triple bogey. Then he made par. Then he had 5 more bogeys in a row.
Why are you doing this to me, Larry? Why are you doing
this? Just,
You're killing me right now because I love me some Tiger Woods.
Yeah, there's only one athlete that I have any affection for. We all know who that is. So
Muhammad Ali.
I can just call it as I see it.
Muhammad Ali.
No, it's Snowden III.
Oh, that's right.
Current athlete. That's my man right there.
We on that tip right there, buddy.
Yeah. These other people, I don't know why y'all so enamored with them,
I'm a fan.
Tiger.
Fan is short for fanatic, right?
That's true. For whatever reason. And I think, certainly devastating car accident. He's done.
Back surgeries.
Yeah, he's
46 years old. Well, done is such a harsh word, right?
Just
such a harsh word.
Even the great ones, they have their one day, and he had that when he won the Masters a couple of years ago.
Exactly.
Because if we take that day out of there,
it's been rough.
It's been a minute.
Been rough.
Yeah.
Greatest golfer of all time.
Can't argue with you on that.
Can't
argue with you on that.
Okay.
I don't even know why they
if I was a member of the Jack Nicklaus family, maybe I would argue that he is, but I'm not a member of that.
Why?
Family.
Why?
Because he has 20 majors or 19 majors, and Tiger has 15.
Robert Ory has 7.
Well, not only does Jack have 19 majors, here's the thing that they don't talk, never mention. He has 19 majors, and he has 19 second places in those majors. So in other words, you see what I'm saying?
We're not playing horseshoes here.
I know. I hear you.
Horseshoes, close only counts in horseshoes. We don't care how many
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you, Earl. I'm with you. I'm Tiger. I'm a Tiger guy, so I'm with you.
So he's really number 2 right now, all time. Then, as far as if we count majors,
yes.
Yeah.
What?
That's one of the reasons why I think he's still out there. Is I think he wants to try to catch Jack, which means he has to win 4 more majors.
That's not going to happen.
I know.
He needs to just move on. Come on, man.
My sister was mad at me for saying that last week, right?
She should have been. Thanks, Denise.
And mad at me because I didn't pick up when I said that whoever wins the East is going to win the championship. She gave me a lecture today that Golden State was going.
Oh, she likes Golden State?
And Steph Curry in particular, you know.
Really?
So,
Okay.
so I said I'm gonna still have to stick behind what I said though. But last thing I have on it, Major League Baseball. We sort of touched on this last week. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the standings, but what does it look like? More like a Subway Series or a Freeway Series? And remember, for everyone watching, the Freeway Series is the freeway in Los Angeles to Orange County.
It's Anaheim and the Dodgers. Hey, Larry, let me ask you this question: Is Rodon playing on a regular basis now?
Yeah, he was hurt last year.
I know he was, but is he playing on a? Is he playing?
Yeah,
on a regular basis
he
now?
even they had a game where you know how sometimes when teams are so far behind, they use position players to pitch.
Yeah.
So the Angels' opponents brought in a position player. So he batted left-handed for the first time in his career against a position player, and then hit it out of the park.
Left-handed.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a couple of weeks ago.
You know, I haven't heard the other kid, the guy who last year was pitching and hitting really well. I haven't heard his name much this year. Yes.
He's still doing his thing. He's still doing his thing. Yeah.
I wonder why I haven't heard much about him this year.
Well, he's not as prolific offensively, but he's still good. And Mike Trout is actually healthy this year, who some people say is the best player in baseball.
For now, right? He's another one that unfortunately
he's been hurt almost every year. Yeah.
I know. Because he's a heck of a player.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question, Larry.
Okay.
I would.
Which is more likely?
We have a tendency not to do that on this show, but anyway. It'll be more of a freeway series because the Mets have pitching. They have injuries in their pitching.
They sure do, because Scherzer's hurt now.
And DeGrom.
Yeah.
Whatever. They both are hurt. That hurts the Mets. And it would be more. I doubt it would be either one, but it's more likely to be a freeway series to answer your question.
Okay.
Because
we got a lot of good teams in that division out there with the Dodgers, because that San Francisco team is always good, and you know how I feel about San Diego. So
yeah,
they're in second place right now.
Yeah, there's no team in the league that has as much talent as LA, so you can stop all that craziness right there.
You mean in the National League or the major leagues?
There's no team in Major League Baseball that has as much talent as the Yankees. I mean, as the Dodgers.
Well, I was going to ask you about the Yankees.
They're doing great. They're leading the league. No team in MLB has as much talent as the Dodgers.
Okay. To use Chuck's statement, on paper, I think the Yankees are comparable on paper. Dodgers did very well by getting Freddie Freeman from Atlanta. And Atlanta's hurting. They're missing him. And
they didn't want to pay. The Dodgers. The Dodgers and the Yankees. They pay, and the Mets too. They pay,
and Angels too.
Yes.
But the thing with Freddie Freeman, I guess he's about 32 years old, and they were, he wanted a long-term contract, and they signed a guy that was 28 that had similar stats, but something about Freeman, he could put the ball in play. He hit to all fields. I mean, he's like a professional hitter.
Clubhouse guy too. Everybody likes him.
And his fly balls when they just need to advance the runner and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the Orioles are playing the Yankees tonight in New York, and the Orioles were winning, that was before the show started. Oh,
they were winning today.
Right.
Hey, the Nets beat the Dodgers today.
Right.
1-0.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, 1-0.
Oh, wow.
They shut them out. after they got bombed the first 2 games.
Uh,
But that's all I have on the list. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we move to our closing remarks?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, Earl.
I have something I want to say. I just wanted to ask you guys: do you think the Raiders are giving Kaepernick a
That's a good
real,
question.
thorough tryout, or they're just trying to calm people down because a lot of people are unhappy with the NFL anyway? Are they just doing it as a diversion because some stupid stuff they've done by watching this big contract or whatever? Is it a diversion like Trump or the Redskins owner does, Snyder? Or are they really trying to give him a tryout? That's the question.
I don't see why they would bring him in. It's no pressure for anybody to bring him in now. I mean, he hasn't played for like 5 years. So
It's 2016.
So that's 6 years. So I don't see why they would do it if they weren't serious.
Well, the Raiders.
All it takes is one of the owners, one of them lawyers, say, "Man, we got to come up with some kind of diversion or something to get people off this watching thing." Come on, man.
Oh, they're not going to get off of that though. I think the Raiders are the kind of organization historically that would do what they're doing. I mean,
why would it take so long? Why would it take so long? Why now?
Well, I don't know. You know what? I'm one of these guys, and God, I'm going to hold back on the fan mail out there, you guys, in viewership land. But I'm one of these people who didn't think Cap really wanted to play. I'm not convinced that Cap wanted to play.
I thought he did initially, and I was really upset with a lot of teams, particularly the team here, that one time they were down to their 4th-string quarterback. And the irony was their 1st-string quarterback had beat Kaepernick out for the job in San Francisco. But, once he got hurt, the backup got hurt, and they brought in butt fumble, guys that had played, and somebody else, another brother that came in. And I'm like, okay, give this guy a shot, and I guess he was obviously being blackballed. He was starting for San Francisco the year before, But after all of this time has passed, I can see where people might not think he can play anymore.
Right.
So I don't see why. I mean, I don't know what the Raiders' motive would be. Doesn't seem to be any real pressure to give him a tryout.
Right. I wish him well. I mean, I wish him well. That shows you how tough it is. There's a shortage of quality quarterbacks in that league, isn't it? I mean, they give a guy a shot who hadn't played in 6 years.
But he could be a backup. They got who they have? Carr.
Yeah, as the starter.
Yeah, he could be a backup there. I don't think he'll start. I mean, if he makes a team, I don't know how great he was from the beginning. I mean, I thought he was a pretty average guy.
I don't even know what the hubbub was about. Whatever.
Right.
Chuck, you got anything else?
No, I don't have anything additional. I just have a closing comment.
Well, let's move on to the closing comments. Go ahead, Chuck.
All right. So this is more for Chuck Snowden. I mean, our closing comments, there's reasons why we all do what we do. And this is part of this is for my viewership out in this great state of Indiana. But I want to shout out to Indiana college basketball. We had our best player last year. His name is Trace Jackson Davis, and we thought he was going to go to the league. And he announced on Thursday that he's coming back. So we are running it back. And what that means is we have all our starters back. We had the number 5 recruiting class in the country. We have 4 top players coming in. I think Mike Woodson at 64 years old, there were a lot of doubters who thought that guy could not come out of the pros and take over a college team and be successful. Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. And they got into the tournament last year, and I expect huge things. The Big Ten lost a lot of their key players that are going pro. And I think Indiana and Michigan will be the top 2 teams in the Big Ten this year. And I just want to give Trace Jackson Davis a shout out and welcome him back to the family. And we're really looking forward to it. They play, you want to circle a date? They play Arizona December 10th in Las Vegas. And on the 17th, they play Kansas in Kansas. Big things are brewing in Bloomington.
Okay. Earl, you have a closing comment? I thought he was
No.
frozen for a second.
No,
I knew he was going to make fun of my closing comment.
I know the rules are that we can't make fun of.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
So I have nothing to say.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to comment on the Steve Kerr. So Chuck already brought it up, but I just think it's great when people will speak up that have platforms to say something beneficial. And it's a shame that our Congress won't do anything, because the gun problem is a problem that impacts all of us. And hopefully it could impact all of us is what I'm saying. And you never know when something like that might strike. So anyway, thanks to all you millions of viewers for joining our show. We appreciate you.
We do appreciate it. We really do. Thank you so much. We should give a party down at Freedom Plaza and invite all our guests, all our listeners to come down and party with us.
Well, I know one place where everyone's partying every Friday is Caliente Fridays.
Hello,
Yeah.
with the wonderful Earl.
Yeah.
That's the first plug of the show. We didn't have 2 years.
So, all right, we're signing off. Until
job.
next week at 8 o'clock. We'll see you next week at 8 o'clock on Real Fellas Talk.
And Dallas will still be in the playoffs.
Okay. All right. We done, Larry?
We're done.
You did a great job. You did a great job for me.
As always.
Charles, I will talk to you as soon as we end this show.
Okay. I'm not going to be hard to find.
Okay.
Oh, boy.